So, as I'm sure you gathered from the title of this episode, this isn't a typical cultish episode of Not Your Mother's Podcast. But wait, don't leave me. My good friend Devon Martinez was kind enough to drop in. He has a background in the fitness industry. And because of the times we're living in, with the pandemic, with food services on the rise, with our gyms closed, I thought now would be a good time to hear from someone who's got some knowledge in that arena and can share it with the rest of us. Again, this is a selfish thing for me because it's something that I need help with, and I thought maybe some of you might enjoy hearing from Devon and getting some tips. He breaks down myths from the fitness industry. He walks us through how to stay fit during the pandemic. Perfect timing. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Not Your Mother's Podcast. I had a lot of fun filming it. Check out I Am Symphony on all networks. That's my friend Devon's handle. Also, I was actually a guest on his podcast, Another Casual Podcast, and we had a great time. We talked religion, talked a lot of fun stuff. So if you're interested in checking out that episode, it's on all your favorite podcast networks, and we'll also link it up on what networks we can here for you. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Not Your Mother's Podcast with my friend Devon. My name's Stuart. This is my friend Devon, and this is the Not Your Mother's Podcast. Cheers. All right, I got some chocolate milk. Delicious. Devon has, correct me if I'm wrong, you've just started a podcast, right?
Yeah, I've recorded podcasts in the past,
Right.
but not really put them out. They're just kind of
Gotcha.
random things I did,
Yeah.
but just recently.
Awesome. So I want you to, I always like to start when I have a brand new guest on. I like to start with how we kind of met or our first impression of one another. That's fun for me. I hope that my audience likes it, but if they don't, I really don't care, because this is for me right now. So let's talk about that, and then I want to hear about what you're doing in the digital space. Let people know where they can find you and what you're up to. But first, I think, if I'm getting this right, and actually Emma was the very second guest I ever had on my podcast. We were working for the same company at the time, and so I had her on for a couple of episodes. But I think Emma Valdez is how me and you met. Is that correct? Does that sound right?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
It was through Emma digitally. So
Right.
we met digitally first.
Yeah, it's all connected over the internet, not in person. Yeah. And then me and you met face to face when a friend of mine, a former client, a great person, still a good friend, Shane Faison of Fight Tips, was doing his, I feel like it's the one, was it his million or billion?
I think it was 1 million.
Million, yeah. He hit his 1 million subscribers for YouTube. So we had, I think it's called YouTube Space LA. They had a party for him, and we had you come down for that because you are a YouTube creator. So that was when we finally met face to face. And it wasn't a very good meeting then either, because I was running around doing shit for Shane, which I'm grateful. I enjoyed it. It's a fun experience. But it was like, hi, how are you? All right, now I got to go over here and do this shit and hand out these wristbands. It was fun, though. I was glad that we were able to finally
I swear,
connect.
I'm not even just doing this for the sake of the podcast. I was actually, I was just using the gloves earlier.
No shit. Hell, oh yeah, that's right. We were giving away hypnotics. I forgot about that.
Yeah, dude. They're hecka comfortable. Hecka comfortable gloves.
They're good gloves. I don't know if he still works with them. Oh no, he doesn't, because he's got his own hybrid gloves now. He's got his own product line. Yeah, which it might be. I don't know if it's a Hypnotic makes it and he throws his label on it.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be, but I'm not sure. But he's got everything now. He's got hand wraps and all that shit. All right. Anyways, enough of that. Talk to me about yourself for a little bit. Tell me where. I believe your username on most platforms is I Am Symphony. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're up to, and where we can find you?
Yeah, so my username is on like everything. I've had that since I think even Xanga, if any of you know what Xanga was. It's like an old blog site. Yeah, it was right before MySpace. And it was just a blog site. Yeah, it was just a blog site that people created and customized with HTML and crap like that. So everyone at my junior high had it. So I've had it the username for a while. But I don't even like to call myself a content creator. I am, but it's more so like I think I just document my life, whether it's like daily stuff and broad and high level like that, or down to like the micro, like I'm only going to do skincare videos for like a month, or this week I just like talking about fighting on Facebook. So it's very off the wall, but the consistency is that like I think I just put my opinion out there maybe a little bit too often, but yeah,
whatever.
It is what it is. Yeah. So I just document what I'm thinking and what I'm doing. I think that sums everything up the most. I do a lot of collaborations with different content creators that I might be like featured on their show, this and that. Honestly, too much stuff to name. I just love creating content. I
That's
like putting
awesome.
stuff on the internet, getting it out there, and yeah.
Hell yeah. That's dope. So I Am Symphony, we can find you. I think you have a pretty big following on YouTube, as far as I know. I think you posted today. I think you're up over 50. Am I right about that, or no?
No,
Or did I read it wrong?
I'm at 30. I'm gonna be right at 35,000.
35.
But
At
I'm getting some
60.
good engagement for
That's awesome.
35,000. Some of my videos are
35,000
they're
is a
getting some
lot.
play.
Yeah, I think this podcast has like 100 or something, maybe 200. Not thou, just
That's good,
the
man.
ones.
It's more than my podcast has.
Oh, whatever. You just started it. Give it time. But I've enjoyed your content a lot. I you I don't know if you'll agree with this, and I think you're a humble guy, so you may not, but you might. There is I've watched. I haven't to be honest, I haven't watched all or even anything more recent as far as vlogs that you've put out. But that your vlog type content to me has obviously, it's not the production quality, let's be honest, of Casey, but it has that kind of indelible quality when you put the music into it, drone shit into it, and the personability of it. Like that is, I would compare it to that. Like as far as the content I've seen you put out, and I'm not trying to up or down anything.
No, 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 no.
We know Casey's the man, but like that.
Yeah, of course.
If you like Casey, I think you'd enjoy seeing Devon's video content. It has a similar kind of vibe to it. So I like that shit.
Yeah, he does a really good job of storyboarding,
Yes.
and he kind of has the template for or the way that you would storyboard like a vlog on YouTube because he's like the
Mhm.
godfather of it, So
Pun
yeah,
intended, because he's always watching
no,
that shit.
seriously, man. But yeah,
Always on the
they're
Godfather.
pretty closely related to that a
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah, they're just
Hell
all
yeah.
over the place. I don't
Yeah.
take my content too seriously. That like if it doesn't look perfect, I'm like I don't even care. I'm
Here
gonna
it
make
goes.
100 more videos after
Right.
this.
But in my opinion, in the digital space, that's wise because you're not getting too caught up on bullshit. You're not letting it slow you down, and
Oh,
like you
not at
said,
all.
just creating is huge. And that's the thing. If I remember right, I don't have all of Casey's story, especially chronologically correct, but I think his big initial break was with HBO. I think him and his brother did something with HBO.
Yeah.
And then the internet break for him, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think his internet break was the bicycling outside of your lane video. And that's not a good video. If you look at his other shit, that's not good. Like that's
No. Well, the thing is too, like, okay, so like production wise, it's not his best at all. But my opinion on like what's good has shifted so much, especially over the last like 3 years after just putting out as much stuff on YouTube as I could.
Mm-hmm.
That like good for me now, very subjective to each person. So, and I don't mean that from a quality sense. I just mean like if your goal is to get a lot of views, good means something different to like Logan Paul than it might mean to like Casey Neistat, for example.
Clearly it does.
Yeah.
Casey's not going to that forest. All right, let me get off that subject before I get myself in trouble. So this is something interesting that I did not know about Devon since we've known each other until I listened to his podcast. I didn't know. I know that you practice jiu-jitsu. I know I've seen your vlogs. We've talked about a lot of different things when it comes to digital marketing, and I know that we both work in that space to some extent. But also, sorry, quick plug. I don't know why. Have I not said this? I was on Devon's podcast. Yeah, I did say that. I think I said that. I don't know. But he was gracious enough to let me be a guest, one of his first guests on his podcast. So thank you for letting me do that. You guys, we'll link this up in the comments or wherever we're at. But it's called Another Casual Podcast. Did I get it right?
100%. Right. Got it spot on.
That would suck if I got it wrong. But yeah, he let me be on his podcast, Another Casual Podcast. And we had for me at least, because you let me talk a lot and I love talking clearly, or I wouldn't have a podcast. But he let me talk a lot about religion and God and morality, and that is a subject that I'm very interested in. But usually I'm the one asking the questions or reading the comments or reading the books to actually sit down and have someone say, "What do you think about this? Talk to me about your thoughts," or whatever. Like, oh shit. And there were definitely several oh shit moments where I did not have an answer, which was awesome. I loved it. So you guys go check that out if you want to see kind of a different side of me or hear me not just shitting on religion for an hour like I usually do. You guys might like that. Okay, so I learned about Devon from his podcast. I learned about you that you were a personal trainer. So I don't know exactly when this episode that we're filming right now is going to drop. I'm hoping I can drop it within the next couple of weeks because I think that the content we're going to discuss will be kind of relevant to what we're all going through. The gyms are closed for the most part. I know there are a few that have taken precautions and are open, but for the most part, your gym is closed. And figuring out how to stay fit or stay healthy, stay active has become challenging. You're outside. Some places you're supposed to wear a mask, some places not. Some people just want to be extra cautious and wear masks. Either way, that can inhibit your exercise greatly if you've got something covering your nose and your mouth. So I'm not going to try to really navigate how to work out with a mask on. I don't think we'll go over that today, but I do want to find out, kind of get some tips and tricks from an actual personal trainer who knows this shit. I am currently probably a month ago was at my heaviest. I got up to 221, and now I'm currently I was doing really good until a couple days ago, and I had a little bit of relapse with some whiskey and some pizza, and now I got to get back on track. So, but I've been happy with my green intake and getting a lot more exercise. Nowhere near what I was doing when I was, had a lot lower weight. But that metabolism, the older you get, or at least some of us in general, it just fucking declines.
That's what I've heard. I've heard this.
So, can you, just because I want to kind of the people to get to know you and kind of feel out who you are and what you know a little bit, can you tell me a little bit about your background as a personal trainer, maybe what inspired you to do it, and I don't know, what inspired you to do it, and did you even like it, I guess? These are good questions.
Yeah, so as far as what inspired me to do it, it was a mix of a few, well, so okay, I was active my whole life just from playing sports, right. Just randomly, as a kid. And then one summer, well, what happened was this: all my friends played football in high school, and I didn't play football. Obviously, I was built to play football, and they were fighting. Yeah, seriously, and they were getting into just lifting weights, and over the summer and working out with the team. And then when that stopped, my friend Brian Calderon, he bought a bench press in his backyard. So I went over there and I just started lifting weights with them, and I was 15, 16 years
Nice.
old. And but we were just bench pressing and curling. That's all we were doing.
Yeah. And at that age, you're not trying to lose a bunch of weight most likely. You're trying to put on a shitload of muscle. You're just, well, how much can I do?
No, seriously, you're basically on steroids at that point. Your hormone levels, you're basically on steroids. Seriously,
yeah, so, that's about right.
So I asked my dad when I was 16 if he can get me some creatine, and he bought me the Celtec stuff. And
shit.
Yeah, and I remember just eating whatever I wanted, everything, and just taking Celtec in the morning and at night, and it basically bloats you up a little bit. I gained 15 pounds. I don't know how fast, but anyways, that's how I got into working out. I just kind of stayed consistent with that throughout high school, which is kind of weird because my friends, if they didn't play sports, they didn't lift weights or anything like that. But I mean, I lift weights when I wrestled and stuff like that, but I was pretty much year round just lifting weights, and I just enjoyed doing it. But I didn't really look into it that much. And then after high school, I had a bunch of just crappy jobs like you do at coffee shops, pizza shops, and different things like that. And there was, I got fired from one job. And I remember thinking I know all this stuff about exercising, and I'm obsessive. I was studying a lot of physiology and just getting as in depth in bio as I could. So I knew a lot about the human body in general, not even necessarily about I don't know, typical bro science that you see on workout forums. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I was your own bodybuilding.com. I got
exactly you. Right. Yeah. So my cousins had a jiu-jitsu gym, and I was I'm going to be a personal trainer out of there. So I started charging people a little bit of money to do that. And then 2 or 3 months into that, there was an opening in a little club, a private fitness club here in town for a personal trainer job. And I went and interviewed, and I got it. And then long story short, for the first month I had no clients, but I really knew what I was talking about, a lot of experience working out, and I understood the human body, and I just got good at sales, and started loading up clients, and I was working 12, 13, 14-hour days, just clients back to back, stacking clients dude, it was crazy, nonstop, no lunch.
But again, that's the obsessive. You're just you're there to work, and you're happy to
seriously. And so I did that for random part of the story, not to toot my own horn, but I'm 21, 22 at this point.
Yeah.
And they were going to offer me a fitness manager. I was basically going to be a manager of a bunch of personal trainers. And I'm 20, because I was just a beast at selling.
Yep.
And they told me I was gonna get this job, and then all of a sudden some like funny stuff happened behind the
Mm.
scenes where like I just didn't get it, but it was because like shady stuff, not like
Yep.
super shady, but whatever.
Yeah, it's a
And
gym. Shady stuff
yeah,
happens.
exactly. So like I basically I quit because I had a bunch of job offers to work at other private studios, and
Nice.
I didn't get to bring any of my clients with me
Of course.
because all this stuff. And then I go to a private studio for like 3 or 4 years. I basically did that until I just didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't love it. I mean, I loved it. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. I loved it, but it wasn't like the thing I was passionate about. But then now that
Right.
I'm not doing it, I really miss it.
Yeah, I can
You know what I'm
imagine. Yeah.
saying? Like,
Well, I do, especially if you did it for that long. You know what I mean? Like you get, it's a or a grown. I don't know if that's the right word, but like you grow into being comfortable with it, and especially if you're good at it. You know, if you excel at it, like of course there's going to be some kind of yearning to go back to like, hey, I'm really good at this shit.
oh
It would be
yeah,
nice.
100%.
And plus, in my opinion, when you go from and whether it's personal training or like just like for me, like the last job that I had that was really manual physical labor, I worked at Walmart and I was an unloader in the back room, which and I've done shipping before in college, did a lot of shipping, but like that's what I did, like by hand unloading these fucking trucks, and I will never miss that job. But I do miss sometimes, like because I'm sedentary all day, like I sit here all day in front of a computer typing shit, and then or on a phone, and now there's no like I got to make myself go outside or do something inside. Like that's a big departure too.
Oh yeah, dude. Like the fact, like from the time I was obviously in high school, I didn't really pay for a gym membership, and then I worked at gyms for like 7, 8 years. So I never paid a
Mm-hmm.
gym membership. You take for granted the fact that you're
Yeah,
re-racking
yeah,
like hundreds of pounds, sometimes like in total like at least 1,000 pounds of
yeah,
weights
dude.
every single day, and like that's just in between workouts. So it's like I work out on my lunch. I'm like, dude, I took for granted so much how
Yeah,
like active I was just being in a gym.
yeah,
But yeah,
exactly.
it's just
And it's huge. Like at least for me, like then leaving that, my physical shape just went like it was out the window within months. Like I haven't been in good physical, and it wasn't again. I wasn't working at a gym, but I was on my feet moving boxes all day. And then when that
sure.
stopped, I didn't think like, oh hey, by the way, you're getting vastly less exercise. I was like, no, I'm just doing a different job. But no, it's a big departure for sure. What would you say? Obviously, there's office politics and shit like that anywhere you
Yeah.
go. But what, and if that's the answer, cool. But I am curious because what would you, let's see, I'm kind of trying to, I suck at math. Like, what are we looking at? 5 or 6 years of doing that, for yourself or for a business, or
Um,
is it longer?
no, about 7, 8. I think I
7, 8.
stopped.
Okay.
Yeah, like I started when I was like 18, and I
Shit.
stopped doing that at like 24, like maybe like a couple months before my 25th birthday. I
Damn.
remember
Okay.
because yeah,
Oh yeah, you would remember that.
yeah.
I'm sure. Oh shit. So what would you say if it's a few things that's cool, but what was a big surprise to you working in that field, whether it has to do with other people, other professionals you're working with or your clients? It could be something terrible or funny or just dumb. I don't know. What would you say was a big surprise to you working in that field?
And, well, from a business perspective,
Yeah.
it was like, dude, like it's so weird. This is embedded with me forever, no matter what type of industry you work in. But I remember even at 21, 22 years old, were willing to give me, I mean, even though it was going to the
Yeah.
gym, they're willing to pay me money. And it's weird, like, dude, like if you can make someone feel comfortable, like in and letting them know that you care about their money, which sounds
Yeah.
weird. If you can let
No,
them know
makes
that you
sense.
care about them spending their money and make them feel comfortable about it, dude, like you can kind of sell them anything. And I think that's what was like made me go crazy and like just want to be obsessive with just getting new clients
The
because I was like,
sales,
man,
yeah.
all I have to do is just tell these people the truth. And
Yep.
then if they feel comfortable and I can make them feel comfortable about spending that number, then like, dude, it literally made me feel like I could sell anything,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah, I get that. And I'm a very shitty salesman, I'll tell you that right now. I am not good, but my first gig leaving Walmart was a sales job. I was an opener on a call floor. And I had done call center work through college. If when I was in college, I was either on a dock where it was really cold, unloading or loading trucks, or I was on a call center sales floor at a company
Yeah.
called AmeriCall, trying to sell people Discover cards, which I sucked at. And phone sales is terrible. But my first before I was selling Google AdWords campaigns, and then I got moved finally to the back end, and I was able to work provisioning them, setting them up, and all that shit. But I was an opener first, and then they tried to make me a closer, and I was like, I don't want to do this. You got to get me something else. I can't. The stress is too much. I hate it. The payoff and the reward is, I think, for sales, especially when you can do something that's a larger ticket, is that's an incredible feeling. But for me, the risk and reward, I can't I can't handle it. But I feel you on sales when you find a technique that works or something that works. Like, oh my god! And that makes perfect sense. Like telling people, having an actual conversation. That was the call center manager's name, Scott Kirkpatrick. He's a whiz at that shit. And he wasn't scamming people. He was just listening to their needs and helping them understand how we could fulfill them. And that was it.
Well, so it's like, okay, so I'm not old, but I'm 30 years old, right? So 21 is like 9 years ago or so.
Yeah, that was
9 years ago, the 21-year-old on the internet hears like a million times a day, like, you can sell this, you could do that. He sees all kinds of this entrepreneurial fake like BS stuff. You know what I mean?
Dude.
Whereas me at 21, the average 21-year-old back then,
right?
You don't know that. Like you really don't know how to make money at all. I remember thinking like, I'd never had a real job before. I mean, I'd had jobs, but like, again, like coffee shops, pizza shop. I worked in like an embroidery factory for a little bit.
Right.
Nothing like real. So when I was like actually talking to people and convincing them, selling them like these packages, I was just shocked. That was the most shocking thing for me. I was like, you can make money just doing this? Like, you could talk to people, make them feel comfortable. They're going to give you money. This is the craziest.
That's nuts.
Mind-blowing. Yeah. Which sounds funny and naive, but yeah, that was the one thing that surprised me the most from like a health perspective. Or not even from a health perspective, I think a lot of it was how embarrassed people are about asking questions. And I don't know if that's relevant today because the internet's so,
I don't know. I think it is.
Is it like that?
I think it's so. From someone who I've hired a personal trainer in the past. I didn't fire him, but he still owes me $200 because I never finished. And when I've gone through weight loss and gain in the last 3 years, a couple times, and that all was me. It wasn't because, and I'm not trying to personal trainers suck. No, I'm not saying that at all. Personal trainers are hugely helpful, but I just got the wrong one. I got nothing against the guy. We just didn't mesh.
Yeah.
And I didn't make it a priority. That was a big thing for me. Like I showed up when I showed up, and I ate what I ate. So I was when I was with him, I was like, let's and then when I would leave, it just all went to shit. So okay, fine, it's my fault. All right, it's my fault. Fuck. But I still think that, like, me personally, even though I've done the weight loss and gain, I still feel like reaching out and asking someone, hey, is this going to work for me? Will that, is this going to mess me up? Like, I still feel weird asking those questions, even though I've had a personal trainer. I know people, not unlike yourself, that are fit, that know how to handle this. I still feel embarrassed asking that. So at least for me, and I've been a part of each of these worlds, I'd say that's still a thing. So it's kind of nice to know that I'm not alone in that. And also that, you as a personal trainer are saying like, hey, it's not uncommon.
Yeah, that's like, so now I'm having like flashbacks of like conversations I had with like potential clients. Like a lot of those, not even just sales calls, or sales meetings or appointments. Some of the things that I remember, or a lot of the things I remember, was me having to not necessarily pry, but I had to set up a conversation that allowed some of these older women like to feel comfortable enough to like sit down and ask the questions they really wanted to ask. You know what I mean? That was, thinking back to it, I would be like, I wouldn't even get frustrated, but I remember thinking like, okay, how am I going to be able to present a scenario in the conversation that is going to let this person feel like, I guess, vulnerable enough to ask me questions that they really want to know? Because that's the only way I could really either help them out or exactly.
Okay, so I like these answers. I don't want to keep you from any more of them if you have more, but I like these are great answers. And I think these are helpful answers now, that second one, especially for anyone that's listening to this, that this could impact or be helpful for, like, hey, so it's okay to ask a question that might sound weird or funny, but like this person, personal trainer or, whoever is here to help you. If you're not giving them all the information, it's kind of, would you compare it? I don't know if this isn't the right comparison, but it's too late. I'm already going here. Have you watched House? The show,
No, but I heard that
okay.
was great. It's like that was like 10 years ago,
Terrific
right? I
show.
heard it
Yeah,
was
yeah, it's an
great. I heard it
old
was great.
show. But the principle that comes up in there a lot is people come into the emergency room or wherever he is as a doctor. He was in a
Mm,
clinic, worked in a clinic for a little bit in the same hospital, and they never, people come in with weird rashes and shit, and they don't want to tell where they went or what they did, and he's
yeah.
constantly saying, you can't lie to me. Like, I'm the doctor. I'm trying to help you. And I know that's a more extreme example, but would you find comparison there in not necessarily like saying calling people liars, but saying like you don't want to tell the whole truth or you don't want to talk that much about your issues or what you really want to fix or solve because it's kind of embarrassing. So you hem haw around it. Whereas if you would get straight to like, look, I am tired of my gut. What do I do? What can I do? Or whatever it is, like my thighs, my whatever, like what can I do to fix it? Does that kind of relate? Does that make a little bit of sense? Or
100%.
okay.
It's a perfect comparison, actually. Perfect comparison. That's actually, it's funny that you say that because that's a utility that you need to be able to get the answers from somebody to help
Yeah.
them because they need to ask the right questions and feel
Yep.
okay enough doing it. But also, that's like I don't mean to sound slimy when I say it, but that's kind of like a sales tactic too.
Yeah.
Because dude, like, so one of the things I would do with people would be like, and I still do this today, like honestly,
That's
and
awesome.
I would say something like along the lines of, if someone didn't want to answer something, I might imply something, and I might go in the general direction saying something like, well, listen, even if you don't choose me, even if you don't want to end up working with me, these are questions you might want to ask a personal trader later on down
In
the
the
line if you're
future.
going to shop around so that they really know what they're talking about. I do that. I
Right.
do that today, even with not personal training.
Right, right.
Yeah.
That's
But
a
yeah,
good. Yeah, I like it though. It's like you said, a mechanic, a tactic. It makes sense. It works because again, that reinforces like, hey, I care about you as a person. I'm trying to help you. So even if you're not going to spend money with me, let me help you. And to
yeah.
me, I think that helps build trust to get people to say, but I want to spend money with you now. And I don't have
Exactly.
the same tactic. And I don't really do sales. If I sell anything, it's myself or my services here and
Yeah.
there. But like, that is something that I'm not great at, but I try to put people in a first or in a place where I'm like, hey, look, I'm just trying to help you. If it works out in a relationship where I can make you money and you can spend money with me and pay me money to help you make more money, cool. If it doesn't, that's fine. But let's get to the root of the problem, or what are you trying to
Yeah.
accomplish, kind of thing.
I always felt like I could like genuinely like, especially training. I thought about this. Like I always thought I could genuinely help everybody that sat down with. It's like I know what I'm talking about,
Right.
so I never felt guilty. Like I literally was like, I will do anything in my head to get this person to work out with me because number one, I make money, but then number two, I'm actually going to help them, and I
Right.
couldn't feel guilty about it because I was like, well, even no matter what they pay me, like I will say anything to get them to work out with me because they are going to do better working out with me than working out by themselves.
Right.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
100%. You're going to improve their quality of life.
Exactly.
It's a gimme. Okay, so this is I'm giving you the clickbaity questions. We'll get to the real good ones here eventually, but and I know there's been videos about this. I don't know if you've seen it, and I know there was one that went pretty viral. But what are the most, or is the most annoying gym type? Whether it's a gym rat or someone that comes in that doesn't know anything about the gym, whatever it is. Are you willing to divulge that information to
Oh yeah,
us?
dude. It's gonna sound like universal, but and it might
Okay.
sound cliche, but I think I want to touch on it. Just it's for the gym, but you might be able to relate in any arena.
Yeah.
I hate the Instagram archetype of any space that you are in. Do you
Okay.
know what I mean? Not you, but I mean
Yeah.
like
No,
anything.
no, I
So
get
like
it.
if I go into like a gym where there's weights and I see some guy wearing like all this Gymshark stuff and he's just like shredded and juiced to the
Right.
gills. I don't care if he's on the steroids. I don't care.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Like, I'm just saying this for cinematic effect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get it. I've seen
Yeah.
that guy a lot.
And they if you are not a regular at that gym, they walk around like territory and it's their place. You
Yeah.
eye you down. And I like it bothers me so much. Not because it's like an alpha male thing. It's just more like, man, I'm just here trying to work out. Like
Yeah.
you there's some guys that will walk up and they're like they'll not step to you like they want to fight you, but it's annoying. You be on something for 5 minutes and they're like, hey, how many more sets you got?
Yeah.
And if you don't turn directly to them, look in the eyes and be like, I just started, they're gonna sit there and they might walk back up every 10 minutes or stare at you, make you feel uncomfortable. Try
Eesh.
to make most people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Not me, but
Never, never.
yeah, dude, I get so frustrated.
Yeah.
That's probably the worst. And like I think there's a lot of cliches that come with it, not to complain
There
about all
are.
the stuff that we see, but the archetype of wherever you're at, the Instagram archetype of wherever
Yeah,
arena you're in.
the influencer.
Exactly, exactly. Or wanna be or
Right. Or
whatever, right?
trying real hard. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is Jim Gaffigan has a bit about the people that are just super fit at the gym. He's like, you're done. What are you doing here? Go home. You're fit. You're finished. You look great. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that I'm with you there, and I think I've gotten lucky. Of course, the gym I go to is closed, or I have gone to, I should say, is closed. But we don't. I haven't seen a whole lot of either. I'm missing those. I've seen them, but it's super rare. There actually there's one. There's actually it's a Crunch gym, and there is one. He's a personal trainer, and there's one guy, but he works for the gym, so I don't know why he would work for the gym and be that way, but whatever. But
You
I
know
can
what
think of him right now.
you know what else pisses me off is this
Uh,
is random. The dudes that they go to the gym and work out with their girlfriend, and when they walk around with her, they dog everybody like
yeah,
we're all staring at her. I hate that. It's like, dude, I'm not
dude.
looking at your. None of us are looking at your girl.
But on
Maybe some guys in the background are, but not me.
but
Like,
but on the other side of that, let's be real. If she's wearing Gymshark and and it's booty shorts, and I'm
of
not trying
course.
to. Here we go. I'm going to get myself in trouble, right? You can't talk about women that way. I am not trying to be demeaning. She decided to put those clothes on. Good for her. Good for me. I got to see her in those clothes. So
Yeah.
like, bro, you what? Were you not with her? You guys probably lived together in your mom's basement. So yeah, you were together when she put that on. And you're mad at me? Well, no,
No,
no.
that is true. It's very true. It's very
So
true.
I'm with you. I've been in both places. She's clearly your girl, but this is how she's dressed. It caught my eye. Or I don't care. I'm not looking at her. Fuck off. Either way, fuck off.
Yeah, seriously, seriously. That's one of the dudes I hate.
Yeah, that guy's an asshole. I hate that douchebag. All right, so now that's the fun stuff. Let's get to the nitty gritty. And I want to say, just kind of as a disclaimer, I asked, and another disclaimer, I've been pronouncing your name incorrectly for years now. That's good to know.
No,
Devon, you said Devon, and then
no, dude, it's both. It's both. No one calls. You know, no
whatever,
one
dude.
calls me. I promise, dude. I'm not. Let me tell you this. Though,
Okay.
at a client, there's a client that I had that I would meet, and they asked me the same thing. Everybody in my family calls me something different. Everybody,
Seriously,
dude. I'm not joking. My mom
funny.
calls me Dev. My dad calls me Vaughn. My brother calls me D. Half of my friends, like my Indian friends, for example,
Yeah,
they all call me Devon. Like
right.
when I go into work meetings, a lot of the times, however they pronounce it, I
Just go
go
with
with that,
it.
and majority of the time they call me Devon. You know what
That's
I mean?
funny.
Like everyone I date, nobody ever calls you by name anyway. They're always like,
No,
"Oh,
it's
babe," or
babe.
whatever,
Yeah,
right? So it's like, dude, like my name, it's so all over the place.
multifaceted. Okay, I feel better.
Honestly,
I feel
honestly,
better.
yeah.
But you said something earlier. You said Devon, and I was like, "Fuck!" Like I'd said his name wrong on his own podcast. I said it wrong to intro it.
No,
So
not dude. So my buddy that I've known for like 15 years
yeah,
called me the other day, and he called me Devon forever since we were in
yeah.
high school. You know what I mean? So there is no right or
Okay,
wrong
all
way,
right, all
man.
right, all right. I feel much better, but I had to point that out. Okay, but I do want to say this also as an actual disclaimer. Before we decided to do this podcast, before we kind of figured out what subjects we wanted to talk about, I did ask Devon, Babe, whatever you want to call him. I asked my friend here. I was thinking about this. I'm like, I just dude and bro him the rest of the podcast, and then I don't have to go over that we've said his name differently. But whatever, I did it. So I did ask Devon. Because you've done personal training for so long, are you okay with me kind of pummeling you with some real common questions, but questions that I think will help a lot of people? Is that okay? Just because, I don't know if you have clients or if this is proprietary knowledge or something that you're okay sharing. And he said, of course, said, hey, man, ask me whatever. I want to, I think this can be really helpful for people, especially right now with us all being kind of locked away to some extent.
Oh,
So
100%.
I'm grateful
100%.
that, yeah, thank you for that. So how important, so this is something that I want to give just a little smidgen of my thought and then you run with it. But I was doing well, losing weight. And like I said, I got a little bit of a setback, but I was going really hard with just lean meat and greens and getting in just more exercise than usual every day. And I felt good. I felt sore, but I felt good. And then I had my kid and we had to do a bunch of homework and I had an off day. So I didn't eat bad, but I took a break. I didn't eat as good and I took a break from working out. And the next day I was like, oh my God, like I feel really good because I was kind of going through this with me. I'm just balls to the wall as hard as I can. I'm not taking any breaks. I'm going to lose that first 10, 15 pounds, and then I'll kind of try to build on that or whatever. And after having that accidental rest day, and again, I want you to tell me like, no, man, you're full of shit. You shouldn't have taken a break, or tell whatever way it needs to go. But my question is, before my question, I felt better definitely, and I feel like after that I had better workouts and better diet. But how important, if at all, and I know it varies for everyone from, your chemistry, your makeup, all that, but how important, if at all, is rest day and cheat meals? What role do those play, and how important are they? Is it universal, or is it kind of like, that answer is different for everyone?
I'll go with the workouts first. So it's definitely universal.
Okay.
Rest is I won't say more important, but just as important as like working out and the exercises that you're doing, right? So it's not as multidimensional, right? You just need to
Okay.
sleep enough. Obviously,
Right.
not as multidimensional as like working out. It's as simple as you need to sleep enough,
Yeah.
obviously making sure you're getting all the food and everything in, but as
Sure.
long as you sleep enough and you aren't overtraining, that's the main thing. The reason you want to have rest be so emphasized is because when you don't get that time to recover, you're not giving your body time for its hormones to ramp up to their optimal levels. And that's gonna literally like that's how your whole body functions. That's how you like that those are the catalysts that trigger everything to have your body, especially in men, to have your body rebuild a self-health. So like for example, when you sleep, those are your optimal levels um of what would you say, cholesterol. Like okay, so let me explain it like this.
Okay.
Cholesterol is the mother of all hormones, right?
Okay.
The things that come from there are estrogen and testosterone.
Gotcha.
And depending on if you're a man or a woman, you're going to go in one direction more than the other. So
Sure.
since you're a man, every night that you sleep, you need to go to sleep because those hormones need to be to optimal levels so that testosterone can convert into nandrolone to help you build muscle, DHT so that you keep growing hair, like all it needs to convert into all these different things
Yeah.
so that you can have all the benefit of your workouts. Because if you just work out hard and you don't get enough rest, your body's not going to respond in the right way to really give you all the benefits that you're trying to reap.
I've never heard it explained that thoroughly. That makes sense. I have heard a little bit about, the recharge and making sure that you get enough sleep, but to hear it explained down to that level as far as like, hey, this is actually why your body's, if I'm the layman's term for me would be your body's kind of recharging and rebuilding itself
100%.
back to its optimal levels. And if you're not letting it do that, then you're robbing yourself of a better workout the next day.
Yeah. You need to allow all those hormones to basically like build up and so that everything can be triggered and catalyzed perfectly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What about cheat meal? I'm not saying pizza, but cheat meals.
So cheat meals are fine. So and this is one thing that people have to be honest with themselves about stuff.
Mm,
You have to say, am I an outlier? Right? So like
right.
am I one of those people that can do that? And that's just kind of like genetics. You don't have a say over that, right? At some point you can build yourself up to maybe be that way, but
Okay.
initially, off the bat, are you one of those people that can have a cheat meal? My buddy, if he go eats a box of donuts, he's like, dude, I'll gain like 8 pounds.
Yeah,
You know
right
what I
there
mean?
with them. Yeah.
So you have to address that first. I think that a lot of time people generally know their limits because they've gone
Yeah.
cold turkey and then you go and you have 3 or 4 slices of pizza and a couple beers or whatever and you're like, man, I'm up 4 pounds the next day.
Yep. Or
So
or you feel bloated or like that's me.
exactly.
Like I've had 2 days of just not doing, almost 2 weeks of just again lean meat, my turkey, my chicken, and not fried chicken. God, that sounds amazing, but not fried chicken, not deep fried turkey, just turkey, ground turkey, and chicken and greens. And then I had these couple of days where I ate like shit, and I just feel I don't want to step on the scale if I'm being honest with you, but I feel shitty. And it's not just the alcohol. I had no alcohol last night. I still don't feel right. I feel bloated. So
It's
okay, let me
oh,
throw
go ahead.
some bro science at you because
Okay.
I want to hear this kind of debunked. This will help me. So I heard, and I do not know where. It certainly wasn't Dwayne Johnson. I don't know where I heard it, but I heard something in regards to your metabolism and the cheat meal kind of surprising your metabolism, if you will. Like you've been eating so good and everything's so right, that kind of the cheat meal kind of resets again. Full on bro science. I have no idea where I heard it. I'm not putting any weight in it. Well, I have been. Let's be real here. I'm asking you because I've been putting some weight in it, and I want you to, if you're comfortable with it, tell me like, hey, I don't know, I haven't heard that before, or that kind of makes sense, or again, you've got to be an outlier, or it's not going to work for you.
Biologically, it doesn't make sense. So let me
Okay,
explain this.
so it
Sorry.
doesn't make sense then.
Yeah, but I've seen something like that kind of happen a
Okay.
little bit, but I'll explain why.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily related to it being junk food
Okay.
directly. So a lot of the terms that you hear, like metabolism, we'll stick to that
Yeah.
because there's a lot of terminology that could have a lot of definitions.
Right.
They're in bio, they're words that make them sound like there's something tangible in the body, but really it's in a phrase for like just a reaction in your body. So
Okay.
metabolism is not something inside your body. Metabolism is the way that cells use energy, like the rate. So it's comparable to like miles per gallon. So if you have a cell and then you have the nucleus of the cell and all that stuff that's going on in there, whenever you eat something, you are taking in calories. Calories is just a word for a measurement of energy.
Right.
So your metabolism is how fast you burn that energy or those calories. So when you're eating junk food, like if you're eating clean and everything like that, you're not taking in as many calories. So it's like it's really easy to burn through them really, really fast. If you're eating a bunch of junk food, it's a lot higher calories, not as much fiber, so your body's not breaking it down. So you metabolize those a little bit slower. They're going to stick to you more. So when it comes to eating junk food to jumpstart your metabolism, it's a weird balance, right? So you can't lose weight. Your body needs energy to lose weight. It needs calories to lose weight. So you have to have, to some extent, because you're not going to have energy to work out to lose that weight. Your body's not going to function properly. But in junk food to jumpstart your metabolism, it's not necessarily the junk food that's doing it. It's just that sometimes your body's lacking calories. And if you have an abundance of them and you have a few slices of pizza, you might feel better the next day and maybe go work out harder. And then you're going to be able to lose weight maybe in the long run not long run, but over the course of 1 or 2 weeks faster than if you had just deprived yourself of calories and tried to just be burning through whatever you
don't have the energy for that workout.
Exactly. So
I was with
really long answer for something simple, but
no.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. And if you think you know me better after my podcast after being on your podcast, long answers are clearly my specialty. So I'm not gonna have a problem with that. I was actually I was with a woman at one point who did the I think it's called HCG, and it was I'm sure that would ring a bell, but like it was droplets, and I don't know everything that it was, but I remember like her caloric intake daily was like, fuck man, it was crazy low. Like I feel like it was either 1,000 or less. Like it was really, and of course I tried to do it. I don't think I didn't do the droplets with her, but I did the low caloric intake. We were living together, and because I felt bad, I should do it too. And I'm not here to say I'm a nice person, but I was a complete asshole with no energy. Like I had nothing. I was doing everything else normally that I would do, and I had no calories. So that makes sense. I appreciate you explaining that, as thoroughly as you did, because it does make sense. Like it's not really a yes or no answer. It's more of, what you said, it's your caloric intake and how your body is turning or burning or using those calories. And if you can give me not a ton, but a little more information. A ton is fine. I just don't want you to feel obligated. A little more information as far as being. But here's my opinion, and then you tell me like, okay, yeah, that's not quite right, but whatever it is. But being an outlier, would that be someone that just kind of has a higher metabolism, or just food doesn't really affect them? Bad foods, high calorie foods don't affect them as much. Would that kind of be, in this sense, your definition of an outlier?
Yeah, 100%. It's like you buy a car and if you should be putting, even if it's not in the manual, you can tell if you should be putting premium in there. At 87, 89, whatever, right? That's kind of like the best comparison that I can make.
Okay.
You know generally how your body reacts to stuff, and like the way your clothes fits, the way you feel when you work out, the when you get on the scale, that's all indicative of what you're doing. So that's a small piece of it that you're honest with yourself about, you know what I mean? But it is really as simple as that. I always say that that's like the first layer that you gotta peel back, because it's the most apparent one.
Yep. That makes sense. Right now, a lot of us, again, no gym, and we're even like trying to get access. I think me and you were talking about this with someone else. Dumbbells, you can't buy dumbbells.
Yeah.
Like, you can buy dumbbells, but you can spend a shitload on a whole set, or maybe you'll get lucky on Craigslist, or you can wait outside Dick's Sporting Goods for a couple weeks. So the equipment is tough to come by. The gyms really aren't quite open right now. Um, and you know what is really easy right now is to DoorDash the shit out of everything, because even your local authorities, hey, support your local, but DoorDash is saying, hey, local is free. There's no delivery charge on. Oh, okay, great. So I'm just going to order a fuckload of local pizza. So that makes it easier, right? But at the same time, we're spending more money where, to be honest, and again, I'm not in the shape I want to be in. I got a ways to go, a long ways to go, but I can tell, the huge difference in my finances when I'm just going to the grocery store and loading up on, chicken and turkey and greens and bananas and shit, fresh shit. And then, the difference between that and then just door dashing all day or just running out and grabbing a pizza, whatever it is. So in this crazy, weird, uncertain time, I think now is a good time for. It's a weird time because it just makes the most sense to sit on the couch and ride this out. It's so much easier, but it's also a time when we could really work on ourselves, and that's something that I've tried to do. I haven't been fully successful. That's something I've been trying to do. So my question to you is, what do we need, whether it's, if you want to give us everything or just some of it, as far as like food and or equipment or just a routine, to whether we're trying to lose weight or whether we're just trying to ride this out so we can get back to our gyms? What do we need to do to stay fit, to stay sane right now, while a lot of us just don't have what we're used to, what we've grown accustomed to, to walk into the gym, work out for an hour, come home and be fine. Can't do that now. So what do we do?
Well, I'll come from the perspective from somebody that like is just very early in their like uh I guess health journey, so to
Yeah,
speak, right? Like they're almost at the beginning, right? Or maybe they're starting
perfect.
over, whatever, right?
Starting over is me, so I can't wait to hear it.
Honestly, so we'll go food first.
Yeah,
I wouldn't I wouldn't try to get, and this is just me. Other people have different opinions, but I think of
sure.
it like rationally in the sense of like what is going to help you in the long run.
Yeah,
And I don't think that cold turkey is a good idea for anybody. I think that one of the reasons I say ask yourself if you are an outlier, and if you are or aren't, to what extent,
yeah,
how far in each direction do you go? So like maybe you can't have 4 pieces of pizza because you're going to gain like 7 pounds in like a week, right? Some people
gotcha.
they really are like that. You have like
Yeah,
if you have like 4 or 5 pieces of pizza, there are some people that will gain like 7 pounds. But if you're not like that, maybe you could have two and nothing happens. This sounds terrible to say, but it's the truth. If you can have 2 pieces of pizza and nothing happens, like then okay, moderation right there, right? The reason I'm saying that is because I don't think that people should jump cold turkey overnight. I think that you change small things slowly, take
yeah,
something little out, and then add something. Tell everybody that like when you're trying to like lose weight over the course of like if you're looking at it from like a weekly perspective,
hmm,
just have like say like this, I'm not going to have soda or I'm not going to drink anything other than water. I'll eat the same that I'm doing, but I'm not going to drink anything other than water, right?
gotcha.
And then maybe the next week you're like, okay, I'm going to 3 meals this week. I'm not gonna have any carbs. Not like any carbs, but like I'm gonna replace my carbs with like vegetables,
Right,
for example, right? And you do little things like that because then you don't have to get so specific into a diet plan and be super tactical
right.
and low level with it because honestly, that changes constantly. Like it really does. The way
Hmm.
that your body reacts to food is really based on so many different factors. Like if you got enough sleep, did you work
Yep.
out? How many calories did you burn the day before? Like some things that you don't even have control over. Maybe you got enough sleep, but for whatever reason, your hormones are just not working the same way or they're working overdrive too crazy. So I'm always like, just find something that is sustainable, which sounds bad, but I'll give something specific, right? This is one thing that I always tell people to do because you'll lose weight. And like, even if you only do this over a couple of weeks, try to make yourself drink like at least in the ballpark of 80 ounces of water and literally have like an apple every single day, which sounds
Hmm.
stupid,
No, the
but
water I'm with. I don't like the taste of water. I just don't.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
dump Crystal Light in, which is
Okay.
the one I like is like 9 carbs.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
dump Crystal Light in, and when I'm on it, which I'm not quite there yet, but when I'm on it, I don't know, 80 ounces, you went over my head, but and when I'm on it and I'm doing a gallon a day, I actually got in trouble at one of my jobs because I was drinking too much from the water cooler. I was like, what? You can't how am I? Okay, but for real, when I have that, I feel more energized. I definitely feel a lot better when I have that consistent water running through me. Is 80? How? Where is that in relation to
Okay.
like a gallon or glasses? Sorry, I'm trying to
No,
dumb it
you're
down.
fine. You're fine. That's like an average cup of water is probably going to be 10 ounces of water
Okay, so eight
generally.
cups of water.
Yeah. So the reason I say 80, it could be more, could be less, depending on how, tall, big someone is, right?
Sure.
But the reason the water thing is so important is because, like, number one, if you're drinking water all day, your metabolism is in overdrive because it's trying to heat up that water to use.
Mm.
Also, it keeps your circulatory system going like crazy. So you're going to be peeing a lot, but that's not a
Yeah.
bad thing. That's a good thing,
No.
right?
Yeah.
And then also the reason so for me personally, this is something I would do when I was cutting weight for tournaments. Like I would
Gotcha.
get so lean that it's like, how was I going to lose more weight? And
Right.
I would do this. I would water load. So I would get however many ounces of honey, so it would make the water sweet. I put some chia seeds in there,
Yep.
and like maybe like I don't know, a couple servings of it, and then I would put lemons in there, and I would let it sit overnight, and I would just shake it up.
Mm.
And it's not the best tasting thing in the world, honestly, but I would get one of those big old crystal geyser jugs,
Yep.
and I would drink one of those all day, and I wouldn't change anything. Like honestly, like I was cutting
Really?
weight, eating like 4 or 5 thousand calories. I'm an
No.
outlier. I'm an outlier, but
Right, but still,
4 or 5 thousand
cutting.
calories is like,
But I think, correct me if I'm wrong, because cutting weight is extreme as shit. So I feel like that kind of brings your outlier. You know what I mean? Like if you're cutting weight and you're an outlier and you're not cutting weight. But when you're cutting weight and you're an outlier, I think that kind of balances because cutting weight is so extreme as far as weight loss compared
yeah,
to what most of us are doing. The fact that you could keep your same diet, outlier or not, and
yeah,
cut weight, that's ridiculous.
yeah. It
And it
was
was just that combination of the chia seeds, honey,
I mean,
lemon juice, and water.
there was other factors, right? Like,
Okay,
so
sure.
like I could up my caffeine because I know it's going to make
Yep.
me sweat a little bit more.
Yep.
The types of workouts I was doing to kind of that I knew would
I'm sure.
like
Yeah.
hyper boost my what would you my endocrine system. It's really true.
Right.
Like if you have like a big old jug of water and you put those chia seeds in there because it's going to give you calories to sustain throughout the day, but
Yeah.
you're not gonna hold on to them, and
Yep.
it's good fat, so it gives you a lot of like mental energy, so your brain's not gonna feel like
Nice.
you're just out of the dumps. Anybody's gonna feel tired and weak because they don't have enough calories in them. But that sugar, I mean the sugar and the honey helps, and then the lemons in there, you'd be surprised just that alone, like how much that just helps like crazy. Then I say the apple
Yeah.
because also it sounds really really weird, but like the skin on the apple has a decent amount of fiber in it, and like it doesn't fill you up. I mean, it doesn't fill you up, but it doesn't like leave you super
Empty.
hungry either. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's the idea. It's more so the idea of it doesn't have to be an apple. It could be an avocado or something.
Right.
Something
Right.
healthy that you get the idea of like I'm gonna eat this instead of something else, or like I'm gonna have
Right.
this as a snack.
So you heard it first here. That's all it takes. You can lose a fuckload of weight. Just get some honey and lemon, and
Dude, I swear, if
that's
you like,
funny.
let's just say this, if you
I'm gonna do it. I'm getting some shit
just
tomorrow. Well, I have the
don't
chia
change
seeds and the
what you're
honey
doing.
already. No.
Okay, so don't change what you're doing. Just like if you, dude, you'll lose like 10 pounds like doing this, like just in like a month, dude. Like just have your protein shake in the morning
Yeah.
for breakfast. Eat how you're eating right now for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Eat how you're eating right now for lunch. Try not to snack as much. Maybe you're
Right.
probably going to, but just have that protein shake in the morning and
Yep.
then do that drink and that dude for like a month. And if you're just active, we'll get into working out after this if you want. But
Yeah.
if you're active, dude, you'll lose a ton of weight.
That's
You will
crazy.
lose a ton of weight. Sounds
I tell
funny. It
you.
sounds like bullshit, but it's the truth.
No, we're gonna see because I'm gonna try that shit. I think one of the weirdest things, and this, I feel like this is something that you might not have heard of, and I say that in a good way because this is not, I don't think it's good for you. But one of the weirdest things I've ever done when I'm really like, okay, I'm desperate, I want a quick fix. This isn't cocaine. Okay, so I want a quick fix, and I'm trying to. Although that's what it sounds like, and I'm really trying to lose weight in a week's time or something. I have done something that I found. Actually, Chris Kresser, which I don't know if you've heard of him. I don't think you would have, but he's been on Joe Rogan. That's the only way I heard of him. But he talked about the potato diet, which again, I don't recommend it. I don't think it's good for you, but it's legit just potatoes with nothing except like Mrs. Dash or something that's low or no sodium.
Yeah.
I just fry them up in a pan, and that's all I eat for like 4 or 5 days, and the weight just gone. And Chris says something about the carbs or the starches that are in them when you keep reheating them, they're cooling off and reheating, that it's better for something. I don't remember all the bro science behind it. And he is an actual doctor. I don't want to say anything bad about him.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy. But that shit is real. Now I put the weight back on usually because it's clearly a crash diet, but just throwing that out there. That was definitely one of the weirdest things I've ever done, but it worked when I've done it. And I don't feel good. I feel shitty because if all you're eating is the same fucking potatoes and I can't cook for shit, so they're burnt potatoes. That's all I'm eating for days. Once I get towards the last, towards the end of my potato stash, I'm miserable because it's not just that I'm only eating potatoes. Now I'm not hardly eating anything because I'm tired of the potatoes, and that's all I've told myself I'm going to eat. So I don't know how much of that is mental work, but it's a shit show. I can promise
No,
you.
dude, there's a really that like a lot of people don't like saying this and admitting it, but it's true. Like you can do a lot of growth hacks like that, for lack of
Yeah,
better terms, right? There are things that you can hack with like the human body to lose weight a lot
sure.
faster that make no sense like logically, but you can set it up with like this and that as far as for looking at the biology of it or
Yeah.
the way you act biologically. But yeah, it's just not sustainable. That's the only
No.
thing, but if it works, it works. It's undeniable. It's just not
Right.
sustainable.
Exactly. I'm not eating but only potatoes the rest of my life. That's stupid. All right. So yeah, let's get into not to overload, but as far as like working out, now we're at home, what kind of and it's not, I wouldn't say we can't get outside, but just limiting it to like, we're probably not getting outside that much. I've been lucky. There's a little trail by where I live and there's hardly anyone on it. So I go out there and do lunges or jogging or whatever, but that's pretty much it. And when I'm inside, it's just body weight exercises. To be fair, I did buy some resistance bands and I bought them a month ago. I have yet to use them. But those are the things that you can still find. Like you don't have to search, as far as I know, you don't have to search far and wide. I found them at Walmart when they were out of everything else. So I'm not saying like, hey, give me a body band exercise. That's, if you search hot girls on Instagram, you're gonna find body. I mean, let's just be real. The girls that other girls said I wasn't supposed to be liking their pictures, they have body band workout videos. I guarantee you. I have them. I have saved them. I just haven't watched them yet. So I'm not asking you to get too deep, but what would you say would be maybe some, I don't know, some routines or some habits that you think people could get into, whether it's from home or just walking around, that could help them maintain or lose weight? Like you said, kind of at the very beginning, like, okay, we're in quarantine, we're stuck, whatever. I gotta get this under control instead of, I don't know. Now I'm all over the place.
No, no,
You
no,
talk.
dude. No, yeah. No, so the main thing is this, right? Like, so as far as like weight, so like if you're a guy and you like, man, I can't lift weights right now. Honestly, it's just a matter of resistance and putting stress on your central nervous system. So your body don't know if you're curling, I don't know, if you're curling like a gallon 50 times, whereas if you're, you know what I
Right.
mean? It's like it is what it is. You got to find different things that give you some type of resistance in the ranges of motion that you're missing from the gym.
Okay.
That's pretty self-explanatory. I know that's like a whatever answer, but it's the truth. You know what I
No,
mean? So
it
like,
is. I've seen the real punk Josh Thompson has done a few videos like that where he's just taking cans of Monster Energy or whatever. Like you said, just it's the same motion, same repetition. Your actual weights are going to be a little funky, but you still got stuff around the house you can use.
oh yeah, and also not to get super far into this, but like your central nervous system is what has a lot to do with like the level of output. So what we call strength or power.
Yeah.
So when you go to the gym and you're bench pressing like I don't know, 135 for example, or whatever. Let's say you have to do sets of 10 with 135.
Right.
Um, and you don't have that right now, obviously, because the gyms aren't open. If you do X amount of push-ups, maybe
Yeah.
you can push-ups to failure or whatever. On that last push-up, your body doesn't know any difference between that and like
And the
lifting
135.
super, super heavy weight, because it's just a matter of your central nervous system having so much stress on it that it knows how much output it needs to throw out there for the next time. So that's just like a thing to keep in your head so you don't
I like
get like
that.
too like lost. You know what I mean? Because it's like
Right.
you might think like, oh, I'm gonna lose everything if I can't lift these weights, but yeah, it's just a matter of resistance. The other side of that is just out if you don't want to get into finding things around the house to lift up. I
Yeah.
would say it's a lot of it's really honestly it's being active. So like
Yeah.
this sounds terrible, but like I would suggest like finding online different intervals for jogging. And I don't mean
Okay.
long distance jogging. I would say like moving, and not even necessarily jogging, but just moving your legs. It could be side shuffles, it could be jogging, it could
Yeah.
be walking at a faster rate depending on your level. But finding an interval where you're going maybe higher intensity than you normally would, lower intensity than you normally would. So
Okay.
like for me, for example, like I do that. Like I'll run intervals of like 20 seconds where I run pretty hard,
Hmm.
20 seconds where I'm just walking, cooling down, and I'll
Gotcha.
do that. And like, dude, like it's super intense, like pretty intense because
I've
you're the
done
one that's
hit.
adjusting
I
it.
am
Yeah.
not. I don't love it, but I know it works for sure.
Yeah, that's like the best thing, dude, because then it's like it's low impact. You don't got to do it as long.
Right.
Um, uh, really, when we're all in quarantine and we're trying to figure out ways to get things done without the gym, it's really going to be a matter of us having to accept the fact that we're going to have to make do with what we got, and we just
Yeah.
have to be as active as possible.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I
Yeah.
mean, and I like that you're keeping it simple. You know what I mean? Like that helps. That this is what I want to say about you keeping it simple. For someone that has the level of knowledge and has worked in the industry as long as you have, for you to not make it overly complicated is very helpful for the rest of us. But also for me, it's reassuring. Like, hey, it's gonna be okay. You don't have to go crazy. You just need to whatever it is, high intensity push-ups, whatever you're doing. Okay, so I want you to share with us anything you want to share. I don't want to leave anything off because you're the pro here, and I am very grateful, honestly, for your time and for your expertise. I'm going to share the shit out of this. I really feel like it's going to help a lot of people, so I'm really excited about that. um, but I do want to I'm not going to ask you to go crazy deep. But I am curious if, in your experience in your years working in the industry, if kind of like my potato diet, if there's anything you came across that's one of those, this is the clickbait. This is probably what we'll use for the title, right? Like, is there anything you came across that was one of those myths or something that you consistently came up on, like, these ladies or whoever were saying, yeah, but my son-in-law is a bodybuilder and he says whatever it is. Was there ever a few, or just maybe one that stands out, that was a myth that you consistently had to kind of, maybe not, myth isn't the right word, just something that you kind of had to keep an eye out for and say, okay, thank you for that, but no.
Um, so I think the probably most consistent one, and this is like what I get from girls, but it applies
Yeah.
to anybody, that they get worried that if they lift heavy weights, they're gonna get all buff. So they
Yeah.
want to do a bunch of reps with like really lightweight. And the biggest like it's like that's probably the biggest misconception I think in
Hmm.
general. So like lifting, you're probably if you lift enough weights, doesn't matter how much they weigh, you are going to get bigger if you do it a
Yeah.
lot, right?
Yeah.
But lower volume is more stimulating for the central nervous system. High volume, which a lot of people think is going to get you toned and make you look defined, um, doesn't stimulate the central nervous system as much, and it
Huh.
bloats the muscle. So I always tell people like your muscles are like balloons, and every time they contract, like for example, if you do a bicep flex, every time you do one, that's a little bit more blood getting pumped into
Yes.
that muscle. And if you do it enough, it's going to bloat up, and the more it bloat up and expands, that muscle tissue tears, and then when you go to sleep, it repairs itself and it comes back a little bit stronger and a little bit bigger the next day, more so
Right.
bigger. So if you do a lot of reps and you're a girl, you're probably going to end up getting bigger, and that's not what you want to do. If you're a guy and you want to get bigger, lifting heavy weights is cool, but it's going to stimulate your central nervous system a little bit more, and you're going to get stronger. So low volume heavy is going to give you more strength. You're not going to get that much bigger, or at least faster. You're not. Um, High volume is going to get you bigger faster than lifting heavy weights low volume would. But obviously your diet plays a bigger part in that too. But
Yeah.
if you wanted to get bigger, eat a lot and do a lot of light rate high reps, because if you eat a lot and lift a lot of weights like heavy weight, you're going to get stronger probably more than you would put on that side. So if you're a girl, don't be worried about doing all those lightweight high rep workouts, because that's going to get you bigger than lifting heavy weights,
That's
honestly.
interesting. So I've heard that before. Oh, I don't want to be, look like that. Don't be roided out, whatever, which is a whole other thing. But like, so what you're saying is, if you're looking for some kind of crazy definition, you're looking to get crazy bulked. I hope I heard this right. It makes more sense to do smaller weights at higher repetitions.
Yeah.
Like I would do, for instance, because this is where I'm at. I'm very weak right now. I would do like, a bunch of sets with the 15s as opposed to fewer sets with the 25s.
Yeah, like
Okay,
if you
I
were
want to
gonna
make
do
sure I got that
for
right. Yeah,
sure, yeah, like if you're gonna do 5 sets of five with the 25s, don't be wrong, you're gonna break down muscle tissue and you're probably gonna put
sure.
on some size either way. But if it's a hyper growth, the high volume with lighter weight, so
Hmm,
you can keep going, that's gonna get you bigger faster.
that's interesting.
Yeah, which a lot of people don't think of it like that.
I never would have,
Yeah.
unless you just told me that right now.
Dude, like I'm not like a big guy, and like I only lift weights when they're like I only do like pretty intense movements. So when I was younger and I wanted to be giant, I was just doing sets of like 8 to 12 reps, 15
Okay.
reps, and just bloating
Higher weight.
myself up and trying to freaking have that giant pump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. I want to, again, I don't know, I don't want to keep you too long. I don't want this to go
No, dude.
crazy, but I appreciate your time, honestly, once again. Um, how diet is everything. I mean, I've learned that the hard way over the years. I really have. But how much would you say, as far as like, again, not the pump and getting fit, but just being consistent, being healthy, treating your body right? How much of that, I don't need a percentage, although we can do that like we did on your podcast. How much of that, though, or how much would you say is going to be something that's mental? How much, the two questions I have are, how much of that is going to be mental? And that does not to say like I have a strong mind, so I don't give a fuck what my body looks like. It's not where we're going here. But how much of that is mental, and how much of what kind of a role does momentum play for most people? For me personally, I feel like once I see the pounds start coming off, or see the shirts getting smaller or larger, wearing smaller sizes, I should say, that for me is a big thing. But everyone, I'm not saying everyone is me. So mental and the word that I just forgot, momentum and mentality, are those big factors, and or are they, it's just different for everyone, or what do you think about those two things?
Um, I mean, mentality does have a lot to do with it, but not in the way that most people would think, right?
Okay.
It's well, so like with anything, you want to be determined to some extent to
Yeah.
create a goal and stick to it, right? But I think a lot of people see on the internet the Hollywood version of like of exercising. And it's just not like that at all, right? Like exercising to like for me, I don't like it. It's just not fun. Like I think
No.
if you do it consistently and you do it the right way, it's not fun to do. It's really not. Like I don't
Mm-mm.
love working out, even though I
Nope.
do it. So mentally, I would say that you got to like don't look at other people. Like those guys that are
Yeah.
working out like really hard on the internet.
Maniacs.
It's easy to work out when you're in shape, even though it's
Yeah.
hard. It's easier to
Yes.
work out really hard when you're in shape than it's so much easier than it is to start off and work out hard. Like
Yeah.
it's not the same. So like you can't look at them and those guys are like, I feel great. I'm a beast. I'm this, I'm that. It's like, yeah, well, that's easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's so, especially when you don't do a sport and you only lift
Yeah.
weights, you know what I mean? Like that, dude,
Yeah.
like,
That is your sport.
yeah, like it's,
Yeah.
it's easy to do that. I'm saying, what I'm saying is don't pay attention to that crap and try to just find, it's just baby steps because mentality is hard, dude. Like it doesn't matter how strong-willed of a person you are when you're physically uncomfortable, like really physically
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable, dude,
Mm-hmm.
like that's gonna be like a battle every single day. Like me, I'm in good shape, but I'm not in as good of shape as I was like 2 years ago. So I'm in
Right.
good shape overall, but I'm not in like competition shape. So when I work
Right.
out really hard at that high level, like dude, for me mentally, I'm like, man, I'm a piece of crap. Like, what? I can't do this. What's going on? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just you got to do baby steps. You can't go
Yeah.
cold turkey. Like no matter how strong-willed you are, it's just baby steps in progress. So
Yeah.
mentality has a big is a big factor in it, but it's your mentality needs to be longevity,
You gotta have
not
the right mentality, not
yeah. It's
I'm just
just
gonna blow this shit out of the water. That's not.
yeah. Your goal, your mentality should be longevity. Like I need to be doing this for the rest of my life, not
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a goal in a month and that's
Right.
my main focus. Baby steps.
Yeah.
That needs to be the mentality.
And I like that you mentioned that both. I like that, to me there's balance there, because you're mentioning that both here and with diet. Like, oh yeah, you're saying it's not like, okay, yeah, all greens and go cold turkey and go. You didn't say vegan, but like
No, but
don't.
yeah.
Yeah, you're not saying like don't go crazy, like, or you're not saying, you are saying don't go crazy, just switch out this water or this little thing, or just like you said, baby steps and gradual. And I think that applies to a whole lot of things, but I like that you're applying it here because that makes the most sense. And while it might sound like, oh, well, he's just trying to say something that's easy, it doesn't mean it's easy. It's just, I would say, maybe easier to acclimate than trying to. Here's what has happened to me many times. I'll do 1 or 2 days. I'll go crazy for 1 or 2 days, and then that's it, especially with working out more than diet. because diet, I feel a difference quickly just because I generally, if I'm not if I'm not eating right, I shouldn't say diet, right? If I'm not eating right, I'm eating really shitty and I'm drinking a lot of alcohol. And so for me, what happens is when I cut out the alcohol and just start to add a little bit of whatever the right thing is into my diet, I immediately feel better. So I tend to stick with that longer. But working out, fuck, like I'll do 2 days really hard and then I'll be like, man, this sucks. This is too hard. Whereas if I was gradually ramping up, it'd be a consistent, gradual thing that I would be more likely to be consistent with.
Well, even like for this, and I'll give you this example, and you could. I don't know if we'll leave off on our view because I have all night honestly, but I think this is one thing I like to tell everybody too is that
Yeah.
even if you are one of those outliers and you could change your lifestyle overnight and really stick to it, because I've had clients like that.
Okay.
You at some point will hit a wall. It doesn't matter who you are. You're going to hit a wall and you're going to have to make some adjustments. And if you've taken all the variables out and because you've changed overnight and you have nothing to adjust off of, that could be really, really frustrating at some point too.
Discouraging. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of times, again, it sounds bad because I was talking about like if you could have 2 slices instead of 5, do it.
Right.
Just no big deal. It's the idea of like the return on investment of it. You know what I mean? Like for me, I know that I can go change stuff overnight and be super disciplined and do certain things, but that extra hour here, that extra lack of like, I don't know, replacing all this fiber with when I could have a little bit of extra starch and carbs, whatever. How much do I really benefit from that? What is it really doing for me? Little bits at a time, like so that you're going to hit a wall no matter what. But when you do hit that wall, at least there's other stuff that you can take out as you go and you're not beating yourself up along the way of it. You know what I mean?
I really do know what you mean. That makes perfect sense. And I like, again, that distinction because that helps people that are just getting started out or people that are looking for something new or just, again, trying to make that little bit of change or get that little bit of footing to get started. That's all you really need. It doesn't need to be this big, crazy change. And I like that you're saying there's a, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a consequence that comes with that. Because again, I've been there. I did, and again, I've got so much weight to lose right now, but when I did my big weight loss, I went for me, it was big. I went 210 to about I think it was 275, 276, 276. 210. I was bulking like a motherfucker. No, I went from 210 to 176, I think it was, which was a big loss for me. And mostly because I just had never done anything like that before. But I do remember at every, 5 or 10 pounds, like hitting that plateau and just being, oh God, that's so frustrating. And having something, like you said, to be able to, okay, well, not as many of this or more of those or whatever, let's do some doubles. Like what you're saying right now, what you just said about, not, being gradual. And here's the benefit to it, being able to stop at those plateaus and make the adjustments is huge, because I do remember, being at that point where I was doing everything I could, doubles and not really eating enough and making sure everything I ate was super clean, and just the weight wasn't coming off or the shape wasn't coming in, and it's so frustrating. So, yeah, I get how people could misconstrue that and just fucking eat pizza all day is what. Hey, he said it, but I know clearly that's not what you're saying. You're saying make it gradual and it'll work for you.
Yeah, you want to be able to adjust along the way, and you're gonna learn a lot more about your body that way too, knowing what you're able to do, what you're not able to do. Because again, like I said, like it sounds weird. You might not be able to eat pizza, but maybe you're able to eat donuts and your body doesn't react the same way. It's not saying you should, but it's just the truth of the matter. And if you're not training to be some Olympic athlete, like that's okay. You know what I mean? That's okay too.
Yeah, and nothing's outside the realm of possibility. Like anything is possible.
It's like the potato diet you had said earlier. Yeah. It works. Seriously, you know what I mean? There's always random things you could do.
Yeah, you never know. And I'm not telling, I'm the guy that's not the expert here, so I'm not telling. I have told people before. I did a whole little video on it about how great the potato diet was. But throughout it, I kept saying, like, just so you know, you're not going to feel good. I don't recommend this for everyone. You'll put the weight back on, but hey, it's a thing and it works. Yeah, dude, I don't want to pummel you too hard, but like the stuff that you've given us has just been really, really helpful for me personally. If nothing else, I can watch this back and be like, okay, make sure I do this and check that off. But I know it's going to help a lot of people for sure. So I'm very grateful you took the time. I think I will ask you at least one more question. I definitely want you to have your own outro and anything else you want to add to it. But just because I know you are a practitioner of the martial art that is jiu-jitsu, I am curious. I fuck. How should I say this? Because I don't know shit about. I don't know anything about jiu-jitsu. I've trained just a little. Of course, I've watched a lot of MMA, but that makes you a keyboard warrior. That's all that does. Shit. It makes you learn a couple terms, and you know what an actual RNC is now. But that's about it. Outside of physical ailments, because I do know that like you can get pretty banged up just rolling around on the mat with someone, even though they're not trying to do that to you. It's a very extremely physical sport.
Yeah.
But it's rough. But aside from physical ailments, or if you're aware, like I've got a buddy that trains a little bit. He's a cop and he trains as much as he can, but he was in the Army, his shoulder's all blown out, and every time he trains I cringe. I'm like, just no, you're a cop, you have a gun, just know how to do a few takedowns and please don't hurt yourself. Like, don't go train, you scare me.
Seriously.
Yeah, dude, for real. And I love him, and he I don't think he'll even see this. If he does, he knows I love him. I'm not speaking ill of him. But all that aside, losing weight, being active, exercise, how much of that do you feel like you can roll into or attribute to jiu-jitsu? Do you think it's something that if you're physically not even in good shape, but just your limbs are intact, you don't have a propensity for concussions, do you think it's something that can help people lose weight or get in better shape?
Yeah, I think it's obviously like it has the dimensions of it that are really, really intense if you're training that like that, you know what I mean? For sure.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to anything combat, because I did like taekwondo when I was a kid and did all kinds of
Oh,
sparring
that's
like
right.
that.
Yeah.
Like I've boxed for like a while, like here and there off and on. Not really boxing, but it's like I know a little, I know boxing, you know what I mean?
Footwork.
Like
Yeah.
I understand boxing. I do jujitsu more than anything. I wrestled in
Right.
high school. I've coached wrestling for a little while.
Oh, I didn't know that. This
Yeah.
guy's fucking done it all. That's awesome.
So what I always tell everybody is like, and a lot of like my friends, they don't really like me saying this, but it's the truth. It's like jiu-jitsu, like just combat sports, they're not for everybody. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying it because it's like, oh, you are like you're just not alpha enough. That has nothing to do with it. It's
No.
literally like the idea of like risk to reward benefit. Like I love jiu-jitsu and it's been a catalyst for a lot of my strives that I've made as far as my own health, because
Yeah.
I was training for big tournaments, or I want to get better at jiu-jitsu, or you need to do a lot of injury prevention so that when you do a sport like that that is more high impact than a lot of people realize, grappling in general, super high impact.
Yeah. You're getting fucking thrown.
Yeah, dude, it's a lot. It's a lot. So it does attribute a lot to my personal strives and health. And if you do jiu-jitsu and you're one of those people that sticks down and you like it, you're always gonna get a workout, even if you're not sparring, just drilling and moving people around and stuff.
Yeah.
It's great. But I would say that you get a lot of I don't want to call it propaganda. I just don't know what other word to use.
No,
Joe
it's there.
Joe Rogan pushes it out there a lot. A lot of
Yeah.
people pushed out there a lot. I don't. The truth is like, it's not for everybody. It's really
Sure.
not, because even if you're like, dude, I'm in good shape and I have so many injuries from jiu-jitsu. Dude,
Yeah.
like I have
Most of my friends
so
that have
many.
trained for a while, like I think Emma has a pretty something with her leg or her foot that was pretty bad for a while. It stopped
Yeah.
from training for a year or so. But like, yeah, no, that shit. Like I appreciate the open-mindedness of like, instead of my studio's number is this, make sure you guys check out our website and fill out the form. And I'm not saying that my friends who are jiu-jitsu do that, but like that cult kind of following of like, oh my God, like you make sure you get your gi from us, and did you get your monogram rash guard and all that? Like that's a whole nother world.
Yeah, dude.
I like that you're able to have that, that mindset of like, hey, it's great, but it's not for everyone.
Yeah, like my return on investment for jiu-jitsu is not for health reasons, because I like combat and I like the idea of fighting with different rules and like just in different arenas, I should say.
Yeah.
It's like the idea of combat and like strategizing and tactically like trying to formulate some type of system.
Yeah.
The return for me is the fact that I like jiu-jitsu. I like fighting.
Right.
It's not necessarily a health reason, and there are drawbacks that come with that. Like you are going to get hurt if you do some type of combat sport. It sucks, but it's true.
No, it's the nature of the beast. I trained very little, and it was so weird. It was like a gimmick. It wasn't even a tournament. It was one match. I feel like I must have talked to you.
Oh, I remember that, dude. I remember that. You beat that guy though.
I did. I was surprised. He had a good 50 on me for sure.
Dude, I remember
Uh,
that. I forgot.
that
Now that
shit
you said,
was
I watched it, dude. Yeah, he did
yeah.
hecka good, dude.
Emma was there. She supported. She came out and supported me. Yeah, and I had very little bit of training here and there, and then some of my buddies opened an EBI gym, which that's a whole other thing. But or no, not EBI. It's 10th Planet, huh? They
Yeah,
opened
yeah.
a 10th
No,
Planet gym.
same
Same. Yeah.
umbrella.
Right. It's all Eddie. But they opened the 10th Planet and like we were all hanging out and they're like, "Hey, you should fight someone." I was like, "Why? Where did that? What? No, I don't train. No. No, we're not I'm not fighting anyone." They're like, "No, like we'll pay you $500." I'm like, "Well, who does she okay, who?
Yeah,
When are
who?
we doing this?" So they had a guy picked out that was my size, and honestly, that guy probably would have beat me. He just was in better shape than I was. He could have worn me out and then laid on me long enough. But then he was like, no, he was smart about it. He's like, no, I don't, no, I'm not going to fight anyone. That's dumb. Because again, no training. So then they found a local cop, a Murrieta police officer, who was related to Steve, the guy that had opened the studio.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, you're gonna fight this guy," and I'm like, "No, I knew who he was. We're friends on Facebook." I'm like, "I'm not fighting him. I don't want the police coming after me." But yeah, I trained for that was it. I trained for a week, and just to speak to your point about injuries, just in that week, again, I was in better shape than I am now, but like wasn't in great shape, and it wasn't even due to my weight. It was I don't think I have a bad shoulder. I think I just landed wrong, and about halfway through that week, and then that was it. I could train just basic easy movements, but I couldn't have people on top of me. I couldn't be fucking around because with it again. No, it wasn't my shoulder. It was my it wasn't my tricep, but it was right here. It felt like the bone. I don't know if I got bruised or something, but I got to where I was putting CBD or some kind of icy hot on
Yeah.
every time we trained, and that was just in a week. And I'm just speaking to what you're saying. I'm not saying don't try jujitsu. I think everyone that wants to and is in decent physical shape, I shouldn't say decent physical shape, doesn't have any serious injuries should give it a shot. I would like
Yeah.
to see that, but
Yeah.
yeah, just in a week's time, I got injured, and then how I beat the guy, I have no idea. But yeah, it was 10th Planet rules, and I thought we were gonna have to go. They did two 5 minutes. It felt like 3 hours, 3 hours, but they did 5 minutes, and then I thought we were gonna have to go to like they were gonna do some kind of put you in a position and a sudden death, like if you can get out or if you can get I don't know what it was, but I managed to get him at the end of the second, and I was like, thank God, because I'm fucked, man. There's no way. So, anyways, not that anyone needed to hear all that, but I think all I was trying to get to with that was just in a short amount of time, I managed to sustain an injury, and I'm not trying to bitch about it. Just that's how quickly you can
Yeah.
get injured, and you have to be prepared for the fact that you're going to get hurt. It's you're going to get thrown on the ground. You're going to throw yourself on the ground. Hopefully, you don't end up with a white belt that tries to crank your arm and stab something. I'll never forget. I went to Emma's studio the very first time, and then they put me with another white belt, and her instructor Tom came over. He's like, "Nope, we don't put new people with new people." And I'm not saying that's across the board. Everyone should or does do that, but I was grateful in that moment. Actually, I wasn't grateful in that moment. I was grateful later on when I realized that he had probably saved my life because one of us was going to hurt the other one trying to get something that we didn't know what the fuck we were tangled up in.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Yeah, it gets crazy. It gets dangerous. It gets crazy.
Yeah. Again, like I'm saying, especially with someone that just isn't that experienced, and you finally you figure out a Kimura or something one thing that you can make work, and that's all you go for, and you end up hurting someone because you're getting too excited about it. Give us some parting words if you want, or at least just give us your outro as far as where we can find you. One more, give us a reminder and what you're up to and what we can see you doing these days.
As far as parting words, I think could be applied to anything, but since we're talking about working out, right? It's all just longevity. Try not to, again, I'm not sound like a broken record, just try to find things that are easy for you to do and be consistent with every day. And then when that gets too easy to do, it'll be just habit and routine, and then try something else. It's literally it's like that no matter what you do, but it's probably more applicable in health because it's the hardest thing to stick to when you're trying to lose weight or just get healthy. Honestly, that I think it's one of the hardest things to do for people. So just shoot for longevity and consistency more than trying to make huge strides, because before you know it, 6 months will go by and you'll feel like a different person, look like a different person. So that's how that works. As far as my own stuff, honestly, guys, even though I have a little bit of a following, I think in the big pool things, I'm a small creator. So not just to put it on myself, but to put it on guys like Stuart who have a podcast and are content creators. Myself, I'm a content creator. Anybody that you follow on the internet that is a content creator but might not necessarily have millions and millions of followers, you'd be so surprised how much a share, or a like or a comment or a follow or a subscription, that is such a bigger deal than you can imagine, right? So I'm going to say with myself, all my handles are I Am Symphony. I would greatly appreciate if you guys just checked out my content. I'm not even asking you guys to follow. Just check it out, because that's one of the ways that you guys can, I can ask for a favor of you guys. And then also share Stuart's podcast. It would mean a lot to him, I'm sure. And he is not going to say it, but I'll say it, because I'm always trying to hype everyone else up. But yeah, that's what I wanted to get out. I didn't really have anything too scripted to end on, but I appreciate you having me on here, honestly. I had Stuart on my podcast, and we talked, and he had like a lot of really, really great stuff
weird stuff,
like really good flowy episodes. So you guys should check that out also. I'm sure he'll have it linked somewhere.
Yes, we will.
Thank you if you guys stuck all the way to the end.
Hell yeah. And thank you, Devon, I don't know your name anymore. But thank you for real though. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. That's super, super helpful. Gonna help a lot of people. And again, just for your kindness here at the end, just kind of making that like, hey, we're content creators, that makes a big difference. There's a big, for me, I reference so many things that are unfortunately they're minutia in today's culture. And I'm afraid like my references might get lost. I know it won't on you, but a big thing that I look for, and it only happens like once, maybe twice a season. It's Hot Ones, when they get to the end and Sean does that, this camera, and lets people know, like, you know what I'm talking about. Lets people know, like, hey, just like not unlike what I just did with you. Said, hey, tell me about where we can find you, whatever. When someone's actually in that moment, I think Shia LaBeouf is the only one that comes to mind. But when someone's actually in that moment, and instead of like, oh yes, make sure you go to, because they're there to promote a movie or a book or something. Generally, that's why they're there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's a interview show. That's the whole point of it. But sometimes they don't promote shit, and they're just like, man, this was great. Thank you. I don't have anything to say. That was, to me, I'm grateful, because what you just did right now was very similar to that whole mindset of like, well, what I have to say, you're not, I mean, yeah, you mentioned your handles, but you're also saying, hey, we're content creators. This is what we do. This is what means a lot to us. So thank you for being real with that. And like you said, the flow was here as well. So I'm grateful for that. And again, dude, the knowledge you share with us, for me personally, was huge. I know it's going to help a lot of other people. So I can't thank you enough for all of that. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Devon, babe, for this episode of Not Your Mother's Podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed. And of course, yeah, like, share, comment, subscribe. All that shit is great. But most importantly, we really hope you enjoyed this episode. Please check out I Am Symphony on other networks. I'm going to try to steal some of Devon's content and throw that up here. There's a video I shared recently that was really good. So I'll try to either share a link or put the video in here if I can. But anyways, thank you guys for sticking around as long as you did. We hope you were helped by this episode of Not Your Mother's Podcast.
The truth is, you don't grow up. Nobody ever figures it out. Happiness only exists in pockets. But don't be morbid about it. Understand that doing things with purpose is so much more powerful than searching for momentary pockets of happiness. You will find your times of joy if you do things with meaning and purpose. Think of it like this. Time has no intrinsic value. There are no atoms made of time. Whether you choose to act or acknowledge it or not, you must live in the moment. The truth is, you really have no choice. Everything will be okay. You can do it.